Well, hello to my Sunday school friends. It is good to see you. I hope you are well. I hope you and your family are healthy, and I am excited that you and I get to continue our walk through the Bible, learning all of these important stories. Remember the last time we talked, Samuel had anointed David to be the next king of Israel. Saul had messed it up. Saul had not been content to do the stuff God told him to do. He wanted to have all the power. He wanted to do all the stuff. And so God had told Saul that he was going to take his kingdom away from him. And then he had sent Samuel to anoint young David, the son of Jesse, in Bethlehem. But Saul doesn't know that a new king has been anointed. David certainly isn't talking about it. Samuel's not talking about it. So we're in a really weird in-between time, where Saul is still the king, where he's still in trouble with God because he's not doing what he's supposed to do. He knows that God is going to take his kingdom away, but he doesn't know who it's going to be given to. David knows he's going to be the next king, but Saul doesn't know that, so it's just weird. So, in our story this week, Saul is having trouble. He's moody, he's depressed, he's sad, he's angry. He's just a mess. And you know, one of his servants says to him, you know, you really could stand to have someone around you who could play the lyre for you. It's a musical instrument. To have someone around who would play well for you and soothe you and calm you down when you're in these moods, when you're all angry and moody and crazy, it would be good to have someone like that. So Saul said, well, do you have any recommendations? Do you know a good musician that I could bring into my court? And one of his other servants said to him, well, King, yeah, I was in Bethlehem a while back, and there's this kid, David. He's great. He's a great musician. He's got a sweet voice and good style. He's also a good kid. He's brave. He's valorous. You know, his dad's got him out herding sheep, but you should call him. He's built for more than herding sheep. Well, so Saul sent a message to Jesse. Hey, I hear you got a kid that plays the lyre. I hear he's pretty good. Send him to me. Sure. So Jesse loaded up a donkey with some gifts and sent David to Saul, and David played for Saul and calmed him right down. All the other servants were happy. Saul was happy. Everyone was happy. Saul sent a message to Jesse, this kid is great. I'm going to keep him here with me. And Jesse said, okie dokie, because you don't say no to the king, right? So David stayed with Saul, and Saul loved him, and Saul made him his armor bearer. So David was with Saul all the time, and David got to watch Saul being king. You see what God's doing here? That he's preparing David for what's to come. He's preparing David for the responsibilities that David will have later. So David gets to follow around Saul. He gets to watch everything he does. He gets to watch his mistakes, and he gets to watch his successes. And he takes care of Saul when Saul is in these moods by singing to him, by blessing him, by loving him, by serving him. There is so much in this story to think about. And of course, that can't last forever, right? I mean, sooner or later, something's got to happen where Saul figures out who David is, or who David's going to be, where David, has to do something, and it doesn't really fit in Saul's expectations. So we know that this moment of peace and tranquility can't last. But it's a beautiful moment. And it's a moment where God is taking care of Saul, even though Saul has made mistakes. And God is taking care of David, getting him ready for the life that's been chosen for him. And that's who God is. God loves you. And God right now is teaching you lessons that you'll need for the rest of your life. Teaching you through people's mistakes and through people's successes, through the love of your parents, teaching you through your teachers, teaching you through your friends who you should be, who you shouldn't be. God has a plan for you, and it's going to be good. You take care. I will see you next week, and we'll see what happens with David and Saul. Bye.